you are invited to ask a question of any of our cast members. We actually have 10 people here today. I know it looks like 5. So what I mean by that is you're welcome to ask a question of what is real, quote unquote person, or their radio character. So I'm going to invite our cast to share their real name and also remind you of their character name. And yes, I invite anyone who feels inspired to ask a question or to share something that touched you in the stories this afternoon. So.
I'm Pamela Ann Keene, and my character was Lucy Love from Lucy Love Radio. All love radio all the time.
Yeah. My name is Carl Irons, but all y'all probably know me as Clem from Monty Tonk Radio.
I'm Ishmael Wesley. You may know me also as Rashid, the family therapist.
Family therapy.
I'm Tony Cyprian, and I am Melvin. No Fear Radio.
I'm Kate Brubeck, Nick Pixie, the panel interviewer person.
So would anybody like to share something that touched you or inspired you or that you related to, or ask a question of our cast?
Bless you.
Great. Rachel.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much. Like, I'm seeing a crying. It just touched me so much. And so thank you for your honesty and for creating with your lives and your honesty. And you couldn't have done today what you did unless you had the experiences you did. So I really thank you for this so much. And the gravitas that you guys bring to your work is immense. And I'm in the performing arts, and people have to work for what you guys have. So you guys just have this gravitas, and actors have to work, decades for what you guys just have. So I'm just really blown away. And my question is, how did you come to these stories? Did you, what was your process literally as an actor? And when I say actor, I mean actresses too. What did you do? Did you write first? Did you did you each develop your own character? Did you kind of look at each other and go, no, you gotta be the you gotta be.
Well, for me, I've been developing characters for the past. I've been developing my characters for the past 4 or 5 years. Well, kind of, sort of, like all my life. But anyway, but when I'm in the Chamber of Solitude, I come up with in the Chamber of Solitude being my shower. I come up with stories of how it's just like a hypnotic something that takes me back. And the bus ride was like for me, it was one of the hardest times of dealing with prison because the COs can be kind of terrible for bus rides.
And for me, the story came out just me talking to Soraya. That's why some of the emotions I got real emotional about talking about, because this is what I really went through coming home. I've been home 128 days. So I came to Soraya for therapy. I talk about being Rashid, the family therapist. I always go to Soraya. She's like, "Oh, you have a story?" I'm like, "What is that? What do you mean I have a story?" And she was leading me on. I was just talking. As I was talking, she was typing. So that's how that came about. And I was a character. I was just horsing around one day. We were just going into characters, and I knew I needed a therapist. So let me play a family therapist if someone needs therapy. But I'm really talking to myself. I'm acting like I'm talking to y'all, but I'm talking to myself. I needed the therapy and still need the therapy. So that's how my skit came along.
Well, for me, there was a lot of Soraya, me talking and her typing too. And, but we started off with a little creative writing, and I was looking at what I was writing. I'm like, well, that's not really me. Who am I, and what is me? What makes me tick? And my whole experience really started with bipolar depression and being undiagnosed as a small child, and I can see it from way back now that I know what it is. And I really wanted to touch on that hope and the depression, that how depression is a real thing. And I know it's something that's really coming out these days, and so I really wanted to touch on, that was my part of my life that affected me and affected decisions that I made. So that's where I went with that.
And I'll just add, and if anybody else wants to chime in, please do, that we do in the first few weeks, we do an exploration of themes and stories and what is, you know, up for you in your life right now, what is in your heart. And then from there we explore that. We use different theater exercises and sometimes writing exercises and tableau work. So it's a somewhat organic process, though, depending on what's alive. Like Tony, it seemed like you to me had your story before we started, and what you had the seed there, whereas others it kind of came when we started, or that's my sense. Anybody else want to chime in on this? All right. Yes, Ronnie, and then yes.
So, Bishop,
Yes.
your gap from coming home, what happened? You said you got your day in 2007, you just came home.
In 2017, I've been home 128 days. That was my experience. When I talk about the dinner, that was my first day home.
We heard 2007.
We heard
Well, that was misquoted. It's 2017. 2007, I was at Solano. Yeah, I came up, that was 2017, I was granted parole.
Oh, okay.
October 31st.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a big gap.
Because when you said that, I asked him, I'm like,
Right.
wait, what? I said, that's 11 years.
Right, it's a big gap. It's a decade and a year. No, I got caught up in my emotions, so I may have said, 7. But I meant to say 17.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was like, I thought you just got so spiritual.
A lot of time.
Up here.
Levitating right there.
Yes, would you like to share?
Intrigued that the theme of of the image that you put out, whether it's to survive in the pen, or what came up a lot about the images that you were presenting, and what was really going on inside of you, and having to hide your real emotions. And I'm intrigued about that, because I know my image of everyone in the pen is two-dimensional,
Right.
I'll be frank,
Right.
This was really good for me for helping, crack into that. And I'm intrigued by what you're doing here now of presenting, of presenting both yourself, your real story, and all of these, and at the same time, all of these images, the images you're presenting, the images, the image that CO presents, who's probably not really his either, and so I'm interested in how it feels to you to be playing these images in this, in this way, when you've been doing that, in defense for so long, how it feels now to be doing it in a constructive, I don't want to even put constructive, just in a different creative way.
Yeah. I kind of I have 2 guys in the building right now who are in the building with me, and they can attest to this. I kind of was like the building clown.
Yeah.
Imagine, if you will, Hogan's Hero. And I treated all officers like Schultz. Officer Schultz. So he was like the bumbling idiot of the Nazi Germans. And I treated all cops like that. So that was just to help me. It wasn't on them, and even if they were or weren't, it was just to help me. I always had something slick to say.
And for me, it's therapeutic. When I can go back and look at my past, the mask that I put on, the true feelings that I had while in prison, but unable to express it, because in prison, if you show any signs of being weak or sensitive, someone can exploit that. You can't go and say, let me cry on your shoulder, I miss my family, this is who I truly am. I was acting like I was a gangster, or really hardcore, drug dealer, now that I miss my family, I want to cry, I want to be with them, because very few people, if any, a person you can do that with. So now, looking back in retrospect, and say, okay, well, this is how I truly felt the first day, like you talk about the bus ride. I felt that same way as well, and many can relate to that. But who could you talk to it about? Well, through Shakespeare and Moran, we can express those feelings. But for someone who's never been through it, they're like, what are you talking about? Bus ride? What? CO? Oh, I took the Greyhound, or you took Lyft or Uber, but we're talking about a bus ride. So for me, all the experience that I had and knowing, okay, now it feels good to be genuine. Now I can just be who I am. I can cry whenever I feel like crying. I can smile whenever I feel like smiling. I can be polite, and that's who I truly was prior to coming to prison. I just had this fictitious belief of who I thought I was. That person no longer exists. I can see it in other people and say, hey, this is what you're dealing with. Like guys younger than me who walked a similar path that I had, say, hey, look, don't be afraid to be who you are. That's what you think. You're trying to fulfill an image, hoping that it'll carry you through life when it won't. Just be yourself. Some people are introverts, very quiet. That's who I used to be. And dealing with Leslie, say, no, you can perform for 300 people. I'm like, 300 people? I used to talk to maybe 1, 2 people. They were drug dealers. I don't want to be. No, get out there. And I was like, hey, ever since then, I'm like, hey, I'm an open book. So yeah, that's very therapeutic for me.
I'd like to make a couple of comments. I work, I'm a volunteer in San Quentin with the chapel choirs, Protestant and Catholic choirs. And there are a couple of things that you said that I hear all the time, and I just want to confirm for everybody. One was, I am not my crime. They all tell me, we're people. We're still people, and we want people to know that. That's one. Second one was when you said, all you need is love. We're working on a program sometime next fall, and that's going to be one of our songs.
Oh, okay.
And the third is when you talked about spirituality with all these guys. When I first went in there, I thought, I'm just going to be honest. Okay, everybody finds Jesus in prison, so that's okay. Well, these guys are serious. We pray before we practice. They're extremely spiritual. And it's something that helps them through. And I love hearing that from all of you, saying that did the same, because I'm seeing that in them. They're all lifers. They're all tandem life, 25, whatever. So I guess my comment to you is I'm so glad to see you out and living some of the things that they're trying to do. It makes it good for me. It makes me feel good being in there, working with them, doing this. So my question is, now what? It's hard to get a job. It's hard to get something to keep you going. What are you all doing in that regard?
Well, for me, I'm with the Laborers Union. I'm working 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week at the New Warrior Stadium on 3060 in San Francisco. I have a job, and I credit to God. May God bless you and your family for the good work you're doing inside the prisons. It's people like you to make it possible for us to be out. You have to trust and faith in us. So I'm working. I'm still staying rooted in my spirituality. I'm staying close to my family, and I'm taking slow steps. I'm not trying to rush, and I can't catch up for the time that I've been gone, 24 years. I'm just taking slow steps, enjoying my family, working. I have no time. I work. Today was a blessing. This past Saturday was a blessing because I got that day off Saturday, but I'm working 6 days a week. 6 days a week, 68 hours a week.
Wow. Yeah. I'm also a certified welder, and I work in Hayward as a welder for a company. I work in a clean room. It's a different kind of welding. I'm signed a contract of disclosure. Can't talk about it. That kind of stuff, So it's all good. It's all good. And yeah, I'm enjoying life, and I say that to the rest of the cast that's coming on. Don't try to rush into that, man. Just let it happen. Just trust the process of freedom.
Since I've been out, I got a bachelor's degree and completed some postgraduate work in public administration, and I work most of the time with a small environmental nonprofit.
And for me, I'll be starting college classes for the first time in the fall.
Jamal and then Barb. Yes, you had your hand up.
Do you believe that your incarcerated experience helped the transition coming home and acting? Because being incarcerated, involves a lot of acting.
Ah.
It takes years for actors to develop the skill that they have.
Yes.
Well, yes, my good man. I have to concur.
Can I ask you this question? So how did you stop acting?
How did I stop acting? The day I joined those self-help groups, I got in touch with the real me.
When you came home?
When I came home, I was already like transfixed at the lifestyle that I used to live, I no longer will do.
So self-help is inside.
So yeah, so the board kept asking us about this shit called insight, and I found it. I started digging inside.
Like I said, we've been acting like Jamal mentioned. If you have, say you're about to get involved in a 500-man ride. We all have knives. There's 300 appointments over there. There's 400 over here. You have 7 guard towers. They got their guns out. You have to act like you're not scared. You know, I'm sitting in my leg trying to keep them from shaking. I'm like, all right, y'all ready? And don't. So you have to act like you're not the worried. And you just like Braveheart. You just run. But you can't be scared. Now, true enough, 99% of us are paranoid.
Paranoid,
Scared.
Please don't hit me with that.
But once you get labeled as being a coward, you get ostracized. No one wants to deal with you. So now you're no longer under an umbrella. So any wolf that wants to attack you,
Got
you open,
action.
you know, so your family, your packages, people send you, somebody go open for Rob. And then you have to talk to people and act like you're still part of the conversation. You still talk about the past. Oh yeah, man, okay, whatever, yeah, I sold drugs, okay. You're trying to make a change, but you have to entertain him and act like you still, oh, you said that right? Okay, you know, oh man, goodness. Burning up my eardrums. So we did a lot of acting in prison. We didn't know we were acting, but we was putting on masks just to survive.
And my thoughts were, if I'm acting like a fool in here, I might as well go home and get paid for it.
Get paid.
Tony's got some shows coming up, by the way.
Yeah, I do solo performances. I'm on Moth Radio's main stage. I have a solo performance coming up July 22nd at Wex Theater. Yeah,
And
solo performance.
yes, and Carl too, you have a show coming up.
Well,
A
sort
dance
of.
performance.
I was consultant and writer for a performance that's going to be a production of Lenora Lee Dance. It's going to be the first part of October. I'm not actually going to be performing in this one, but I was consultant and writer for it.
Yeah. Barb?
Soraya is an old friend of mine, and so I've been coming to the prison and coming to these shows for quite a while now, and I just am so impressed over and over again, and you know, some of you I've seen several times. And I used to be a high school principal, and I think about, you know, the opportunity for young people to really see the realities of their actions and some of the things that they were doing. So my question is twofold, actually, because even when we visit the prison, just seeing the other people that are there and seeing there's so many people sitting in the audience, you know, when you do your performances there. So my first question is, are you able to have any influence on those that are still in the prison, like friends of yours, about getting involved in a program like this, seeing the value of doing this without seeming too soft or, you know, being looked at in a negative way? I'm just curious about what kind of a role each of you could play to influence others to participate in something like this.
I know when I was in prison and I got into the Shakespeare Corrected, the people who didn't want to do it that year, but then saw me go through the process and saw a change in me, because I really did change. I mean, I became more confident, more, you know, outgoing, more just sure of myself, and I had fun, and they wanted to be entertained like that too, and we had therapy Thursdays. They were like, well, what's this all about? So it got people behind me involved, and now from what I hear that even this year was even bigger turnout. The turnouts are bigger and bigger every year because people are really getting interested in the process.
Yes. Oh yes, I was able to influence people. One of Leslie's probably favorite, this guy named Ricky Williams. He's like 350 pounds. He had like 35 years in prison. He was well known on the streets. And he said how much fun I had at my first performance. And he was like, I want to join. I said, come on, man, you got to join. Then he's like, well, the words are kind of too long. I'm not familiar with the words. I said, don't worry about that. I said, you're going to do it. You're not quitting. So here I am, 185 pounds. Said this 300-pound guy, you're going to do it. So, he was convinced, and the audience loved him. Big Rick, he was, but through him, now, he broke the barriers for a lot of people. For a lot of people.
So we did Midsummer Night's Dream that year, and we cast him as the wall. That became one of his prison nicknames.
Yeah, it did.
So, it's always good when Shakespeare creates the nickname.
He broke the barriers. Yeah, he's out. Doing good too.
Pamela.
Hi, I want to compliment you all.
Yay.
Fabulous job. And I wanted to especially acknowledge a moment that you did, Ishmael.
Yes.
I've participated, supported this program in the past couple of years, so
Okay.
got to know the pieces really well. I
Right.
feel like the part of the piece where you talked about reentry and the complexity of interfacing with your family, something I really appreciated that part of the story, because I don't know if it's like the other folks who've done this program didn't have the same distance or perspective or whatever, but it's so fresh for you.
Right.
And I just wanted to appreciate that was really poignant the way you captured it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to just acknowledge the teamwork that happened in your piece on that and all the pieces. There was a lot of beautiful collaboration and coming up with how we were going to create those, what we created. So. You want, yeah? Oh, yes, yes.
I'm interested, how did you turn the situation around in your family?
It was my thinking. See, when I first came home, I thought, okay, people would cry on my shoulders, my shirt would be soaking wet. They'd just be so elated to see me that all this, but they were in shock, and they had, like I said, they'd been affected by me being in prison as well. I didn't notice that part, so I had to just kind of, deep breathe, relax. I had to change my whole thinking, because a lot of times in life, it's the way we see, the way we think about something, not the way we respond. We're going to respond the way we think. So that's one thing I learned in self-help. Every situation that happens in life, sometimes you have to rethink how you think in order to change the situation. So now that I've changed my thinking, hey, this is my family. Good or bad, tall or short, whatever's going on, this is my family, I'm going to love them. If they cry, they don't cry. And now we have a stronger bond, because now we're starting to really genuinely start to get to know each other. Because we didn't have that connection. My son was 10 months old, he's 25 now. He has a daughter. Granddaughter. Me and my granddaughter got real. That's my heart. But it was just me, because I'm thinking, okay, everyone's love me, cry, I'm here, I'm home. They're like, no, yeah, we're happy you're home, but who are you? So I had to change my thinking to better receive my family, and we have a better, way stronger relationship now. Me and my mother, everyone, it's much better now. Yes.
Bonnie?
Okay, I have 2 questions. For you, I wanted to know, when you take classes in the fall, will you do acting in school? And for Ishmael,
Yes.
how is you and your son's relationship here from you coming home? Is it getting better? I mean, you said your granddaughter is your heart, so
Yes.
how are you and your son?
Yeah, he's jealous of that too, because I showed him more attention now. But with him, it was
a granddad's job.
Yeah, exactly. It was a blessing, because I went through a program, One Treasure Island in San Francisco. They gave me my training to work with the labor union. I called him. I wanted him to get a job as well, a career job, not just a job, a career. And we both actually got hired for the same company, and we worked side by side for the first 3 weeks. So it was father and son, first time for that company, working side by side. We were tight. I still, dear father, he's doing something wrong. Hey, what are you doing? No. He doesn't like that part about the father. But that's kids, as kids, you always gonna have that, why are you hollering at me? But I always hug them, like kids, we're tight. I called him this morning, like, hey, you told him, don't be ready, it's gonna be online, but we're getting real tight. We still work together, and it's a blessing.
And yes, I'm going to take a theater class, and I'm also taking graphic design, but I want to continue in theater. I really love it.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that nothing you guys did was simple, and I really appreciated the depth. Makes me cry.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for being here. Yeah.
I mean, nothing was stereotypical. You know, you're all very complex.
Right.
The humor was serious. The serious was humorous. You know, I mean, it was just very, and you each have such a different personality. You're very strong people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calvin?
Yeah.
A question.
Oh, yes,
Behind the
please.
screen.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question as much as I walk in here, I have, just because Kate sent me something on the email. And I didn't know what to expect, but I just want to let you know how inspiring you guys are.
Yeah.
You just inspire me to be open to more things from this moment on. So I appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, when you guys were talking, I can't remember who it was, because I'm old now and I don't have a great memory. Because you're such an ensemble, you know, I've seen you as an ensemble, so it's like, whoever did it, doesn't matter, you all did it. But, when someone was talking about their divorce, it was the second person talking about coming from a divorced home.
Oh, yeah, yes, divorce.
And I was listening, and my parents divorced around the same time yours did.
Okay.
And I've been in therapy for a million years, so I mean, you know, I've dealt with stuff. But it wasn't until you said it, and I got to see, like, the circumstances you grew up in, the environment, everything that you was told about up until that point.
Right.
It was like, for the first time I really understood how devastating that the divorce was in my family to me.
Okay.
And I've never really gotten, like, it was devastating.
Right.
And how, like, it made me realize, like, the way my life has turned out was so much a result of that devastation.
Right.
And it made me think, too, like, if I was, I mean, I'm a woman, you're a guy, but if I was in your shoes, I was like, I probably would have ended up the same path. If I was in that place with those influences, with those the opportunities you had,
Right.
I probably very closely would have done similar stuff.
Right.
And I ended up an addict in recovery. I've got 33 years clean and sober. So when I was 24, shit hit the fan, and it was clear I was gonna die, or I would take that other route. But yeah, so it's just wow. So it's amazing the power you guys have out here. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Your intense forces are good.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. All right, we got another question over here, a comment? Janice.
Okay. Sorry, I can't make it that either. I'm going to put you all on the spot because you're all up there and I'm having a hunger to hear what it's like for you all during this particular experience, particular show, and because everyone that's watched it feels that transformative energy. I know Kate very well. I've gotten to know you, Soraya. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if there's anything you could share with us about just what the experience has been like for you. This is not any theater. This is a particular type of theater. And any intelligence you can share with us around this experience would be appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I need a beat to think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank thank you, Janice, for the question. And for me, this is the third year that we've done the Return Citizen program. And every year has been awesome in its own right. Just I've been so fortunate to work with so many amazing people. And this year, again, like every time I have come to our rehearsal, it feels like we're at home, like playing and like, what if we try this? What if we try that? So this group has been amazingly supportive, playful, deep. So it's just really been an honor to see, everybody really show up for each other with no ego, like just this humility and this willingness. So yeah, I couldn't have asked for like a better experience, I gotta say. And the food has been really good. Yeah, we've gotten into this since our rehearsal started at 6. We kind of start like our check-ins, chomping down on food, everybody sharing, what are we going to work on tonight? So that, I didn't know that's what was going to happen, but that's just kind of what's evolved organically. And
it's worked for us.
Yeah, that's worked for us. So, yeah.
So I'm not good on the spot like this, but it does occur to me to say that I work as a writing coach and an editor and a teacher, and so I work with a lot of people who are bringing stories out of themselves, and I'm just remembering the first week, I'm thinking about the process, when Soraya, you had everybody write down something that was current for them. And I freaked out, and I couldn't do it. But these guys started scribbling away. And I remember Pamela specifically saying, oh, well, she read what she had written, and she said, well, this is no good, this gets into family. And it was so interesting because that part about family actually became the most fertile part of your story, and how important your father was to you. And Ishmael was, I hope I'm not blowing state secrets here, but...
No, you go, I'm open for it.
Ishmael was having a lot of trouble with the very family story he was talking about, and it occurred to him during those first couple weeks that maybe he would take his mother out for Mother's Day. And so we were all on tenterhooks. Did you take your mother to your mother? And I was, tell her. No, he's not going to tell her. It's going to be a surprise. No, and then he came back and he told us the story of having taken his mother out for Mother's Day, and then seeing all that actually become a story acted out on stage was amazing to see how just trusting that the story will grow. The story grows, and you. Tony did come with a story already in mind, but it started from that badass CO on the bus, and then the story kind of spread out, and other tendrils went out from it, and then the whole story grew. And Tony did it in rhyme, which is really interesting. That's what I have to say.
So I think we have time for one or two more questions. Any last questions or comments? Yes.
I just want to say, this is my favorite thing I do practically at all. Your shows, you and the prison. It's just this world just doesn't have what you bring. We don't see enough of real conversation, real sharing, real truth. And transformation. And it's my church.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So on this yellow piece of paper says you and Lovely Janice have been married for 22 years.
Well, December be 24.
Whoa.
How was that transition?
So for the first 6 months, I was in a transitional house, and She did, first of all, she rode that bench with me for 18 years in the blind, not knowing if I was coming home or not. So, then at some point she started saying, you need to do this and do that. And so she was very, 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 did I say no very?
13 times.
A grip of berries, all right, of shoulds, and I started doing it. You know, she was very instrumental in saying, go to self-help. She was very instrumental in saying, how is it? You know, what is it like? Are you, you know, and I would talk about it on visits. We never missed a beat of visits for 18 years. So she was standing in the rain, the heat, the snow. I went home. Thank you, Lord. And so coming home, I was in this transitional house for 6 months, and then when we moved in, when I finally moved in,
was it weird?
Yeah, it was weird because I had house keys now. I was the one with the keys. I was the one pushing alarm buttons.
The bedroom door yelling.
Right, and nobody to yell, hey, I need an unlock over here. And I was drinking wine, damn it.
The reason why I asked is because, like, me and Jamal, but then my cousin and my god brother that Ishmael knows.
Right.
I'm learning the process with them too, because in my eyes on the outside looking in, the person that you are before a person goes to jail, the person that you become, the actor, while you're in prison,
Right.
and then the person that comes home. That's 3 different people that have transpired through one person that now you two live together and have to get to know the new person that you are becoming. Without becoming the person you were before you went in.
Well spoken. That's why I spoke about that. Yeah. That's well put. And that's what I went through because, like I said, even with family, it's like you're not connected to these people.
Yeah.
You be married 20, 30 years, but you're behind the walls, she's in society, and y'all finally unite. It's not a real connection there. You're two strangers. You have to learn her habits, she has to learn your habits. You have to get used to being with another person. You have to relearn your emotions all over again because for 20, 30, 40 years, we had to submerge all those emotions.
Because a visit person, the way I see it, like when we say it, it's like a prison wife versus a street wife. As far as like with me and Jamal. When I was a street boy. When I met him, he was home for 22 years. I didn't do any time with him. And a lot of people look at it now, a year and a half after we got together, we were married. How did I do that? So it's just like, when Janice was never missing a beat, she was visiting the prison you.
I should get the visitor room me.
The visiting room, yeah. That's what it is. That's what me and Tracy call it. It's a visiting room wife versus the home wife.
Right.
So when you were in visiting, you still had to act to the inmates that were around you, but then you had
Well,
to
the
be
visitor room was
yourself
kind of a
first.
neutral zone, so I didn't have to be on such guard. You know what I mean? I didn't have to have all my flags up. But my flags still go up out here on the street. Prime example. My first month or so home, Janice took me on a walk on a trail. And I'm so keen to that gravel sound. And we were walking on the gravel. And then all of a sudden, I heard feet running on the gravel. So I turned around ready to pop this dude. Because I'm used to people saying to your left. And this dude didn't say anything. So that let me know that I was still in some kind of trauma mode.
Yeah.
You know, but luckily she grabbed me. She said, it's okay.
She's very soft-spoken, so it's just like you said now, after you did 6 months in the transition and you had keys, it was just like, how did you relax that first time going in the house? Like, with me and Jamala was different because he had keys, but, you know, we were still sneaking because he couldn't be there. So when he could be there, it was different. Like, so how did you relax when you walked in? That very first time that you knew, like...
Okay, so the very first day home.
Like home.
Well, okay, so the first day, and instead of going to the transition on the first day,
Yeah, your first
I
day
went home.
with your wife.
I went home with my wife, my very first day home. And
How'd you relax?
I wasn't. I wasn't relaxed. I mean, she took me to Target. We shopped. I just got the necessities. We went to Berkeley Bowl. I was like, I was in shock. All right. So we've taken you there, and you've been in shock, right? Okay. So she asked me, do I want to get further acclimated? And I said, yes. She says, take out the garbage.